Good morning and welcome to Wake Up Well this Wednesday morning. Here we are now just over 4 weeks into lockdown part 3. Let's spend a moment really looking at how do we keep our eyes fixed on Jesus. 1 John 4 verse 1. Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. Test the spirit. What are we listening to around us? This passage is actually talking about what we're listening to. It's not necessarily talking about kind of false prophets and people coming and giving you false words, but what are we listening to? What are we aligning to with our view on God in this time? It goes on to say that we can easily acknowledge and test where the spirit source is coming from, because a spirit from God acknowledges who Jesus is, that he is from God. He did come and live humanity here on the flesh on earth. And it goes on to say in this passage that actually we as the children of God have overcome, because the one who is in us is greater than one who is in the world. But the spirits, in the world, they are listening to the world, what's going around, whereas the one in us has overcome. Therefore, it means that we can be overcomers because Jesus in humanity overcame. So what are we listening to? Well, the spirit of the world is what's going on around us. It's easy to see, isn't it? It's fear. It's despair. It's needing to kind of panic, hoard, greed, all those things we have seen played out. It's not that we're not unwise or naive to what's going on. It's important we listen to the news and understand what's going around and how we adhere and help in these circumstances and live safely. We are in the world, but also we have overcome. The Bible talks about us being like aliens here. So we are kind of in and of the world, but we're of a greater kingdom and a more powerful one. And so our job is, which voices do we listen to so we can really keep our eyes fixed on Jesus? Humanity, we get swept away with what's around us. We see that through history. I love all the way through the Bible, the story of humanity. We look at those Israelites who were on the journey to the promised land in the desert, and living in the desert has not got to be easy. It's hostile, but they'd just seen one of the greatest miracles. They'd crossed the Red Sea where it had literally parted, and there they were. Their sustenance and living was a miracle. Every day they went to collect the miracle manna, and yet they were full of fear because they wanted to go back and worried about their food and the source, and yet they didn't want to move forward because they're worried about giants in the land. That's living in a miracle, but humanity just coming out. So to us, we can have grace with ourselves of knowing that our humanness is real, of what comes against us, what our fears, worries and anxieties might be, but we have the one inside us who is greater, who has overcome. And so where are we going to fix our eyes and attention? Philippians talks about whatever is good, whatever is noble, whatever is righteous, then think about these things. The more that we can think about who God is and what his character is and listen to his character and who he is rather than the fears of the world, then we can fix our eyes on the substance of faith, of how to get through this, of how to live in hope, of how to know that his redemption comes in every situation, how to know that he's walking with us, that we are not alone, we are not isolated, even with what the world shows us and sees us, that he has overcome. And so as we live this day, as we walk through doing what we need to do, staying safe, loving the people around us, then let's be guided by fixing our eyes on his word. Let's remain in him today. Who is his character? He has overcome, which means there is hope, and we walk in that hope. Blessings on your day.